Alright, so before I review Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PS4, I of course have to review Across the Spider-Verse, because I did review Into the Spider-Verse if you wanted to go check that video out. So yeah, Spider-Man Across the... wait, did I forget something? Pretty sure I did. Yeah. That's better. So moving on with my review for Across the Spider-Verse, I'm just going to start off this review by saying that this movie took me back to my childhood in a way that reminded me just how much I love not only Spider-Man but Marvel movies in general. Across the Spider-Verse proves that superhero fatigue doesn't actually exist. We're just getting oversaturated with the same type of story that we're used to seeing in a Marvel project or a Star Wars project, anything like, you know, the big franchise that we're getting a lot of nowadays. This movie proves that they're just not trying as hard. And the first thing I have to talk about is the villain Spot for this movie. Now, I did watch a couple clips leading up to, you know, the release of this movie because I was really excited for it. And let's just say the one clip that they showed on YouTube of Miles fighting Spot, I didn't really think that much of him. I thought he was just kind of going to be like the villain that starts us off with the movie and then we're going to get into the actual movie. No, actually the villain Spot has a lot more to do with this movie than is shown in the trailers or even the clips that they put on YouTube. So yeah, don't go into this movie thinking that it's just all about, you know, Miguel O'Hara. Spot is a huge part, a huge player in the plot for this film. And so that was the first surprise that I encountered with this movie. The second surprise actually had to be Gwen Stacy. Little did I know that this movie would actually focus a lot more on Gwen Stacy. In fact, if I'm being completely honest with you, this movie is kind of like a Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy movie. Like, Peter Parker is there, as you see in the trailers. He has a story in here, but for the majority of the runtime of this film, most of it focuses on Gwen Stacy and Miles Morales, and I loved Gwen Stacy's story in this. One of the things that the whole multiverse idea lends itself to being is that it can focus on these characters that have a set story in another universe somewhere else, but in this universe that we're watching for, in Across the Spider-Verse, for example, she has a completely different story. And I was just thinking about that while watching this movie, watching Gwen's story play out, like, oh, this is not like the Gwen that we're used to. This is a totally different character with the same name and face, but a whole different, drama going on. Speaking of that drama, this movie goes in a certain direction, using the idea of the multiverse, but it brings family values into it, and how it does that was very hard-hitting for me. I'm coming at this review at a very personal angle concerning the story and the message that this movie is telling in the family drama that Gwen Stacy is going through, that Miles Morales is going through, while also incorporating the whole multiversal aspect into it, which is very well done, by the way. The fact that they were able to tell a very family-centric story centered around the multiverse. However the hell they did that was amazing. It to be honest, it kind of destroyed me. If you've seen previous videos on my channel and you know this huge personal thing that happened to me in my personal life, and you've seen this movie, you know that this movie, kind of had a big effect on me, and it really did. It destroyed me. Not everyone will get what I just said, because A, you have to know what actually happened to me, and B, if I tell you what happened to me, then I'm going to kind of spoil the whole movie, so I can't tell you either. But anyway, putting my own personal stuff aside, I have to, I'm just in utter shock at how well they were able to incorporate the family aspect of it into this multiversal dilemma that they're dealing with, while also keeping it so relatable and raw as well. And, this movie, being a Spider-Man movie, continues on that same sort of story arc where a Spider-Man or woman has to deal with the choices of their own personal life, or being a hero and saving, hundreds of people or an entire world, for example. Every other Spider-Man iteration in the cartoons, comics, whatever, has done that, and this movie just takes it to 1,000. I don't know, the whole movie just focuses on this, really. Yeah, so I'm trying not to spoil it because it was so good and I want to talk about it, but at the same time I don't want to spoil it for someone who hasn't seen it yet. And also I have to mention this, how long the movie actually is. Now, this is, I'm pretty sure, the longest animated film to exist, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, I could be entirely wrong, I probably am. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel the runtime at all. I was locked in. This felt like a movie. Like, when it started, as it continued, by the end, I was just wanting more. Like, this movie gave me the same, or left me with the same sort of feeling that I had after watching Avengers Infinity War. Like, this movie is that good, it had me on the edge of my seat by the end, wanting more, and also not knowing exactly what's going to happen. It's not like I knew exactly what was going to happen at the end of Into the Spider-Verse, but this movie left me on such a cliffhanger that I was like, what the hell are they going to do? In a very similar way to Avengers Infinity War. Now, I'm going to sort of ruin everything I just said by talking about one tiny negative that I did have with the movie, which is in the first act, and I think that the first act just tries to recap the first movie too much. Now, again, this is a movie made for kids, and the first movie came out quite a while ago, so I guess that's why they're doing it, but like, it's not needed. We don't need one character to describe another person's backstory, and then that same person describe their own backstory a second time. Like, we don't really need it. The one recap could have been enough, and that was it. That's all we ever needed. But that said, that one tiny negative, in comparison to the rest of the movie, honestly does not matter to me. Like, when I go back and watch this movie, because I most certainly will, I'm not going to even think about that. It's just something, you know, when I just sat down to watch the movie and I'm getting into the story, like, that was kind of the first thing that I noticed. It's like, hey, we don't need so much recap, but really, like, I don't care. Like, when I go back to watch it, I'm probably going to find even more things that I love about it. Can I just tell you how excited I am and happy that this, you know, trilogy is shaping up to be one of the best Spider-Man and superhero trilogies ever. And it's a kids animated film, which is crazy because you have, you know, like 2 other Spider-Man trilogies, 3 if you count Venom, going on right now. Like, you have the video games, you have the Tom Holland trilogy, and you have the Venom trilogy. So essentially we have 4 totally different Spider-Man trilogies going on at the same time. That's crazy to me. Like I said before, superhero fatigue is not the problem here. Anyway, that is my review for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel because I am trying to up my subscriber count. I will see you in my review for Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PS4. A bit later in the year, but I will see you in that Spider-Man review. Alright, we've finally made it up to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, before I review... Oh, wait. That doesn't make sense. Go check that video. God. And the first thing I have to talk about really quickly is the villain Spider-Man! Woohoo! Oh my god. No, retake that. That was just ridiculous.